Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We are opening the room 1 minute earlier than the official start to allow you to take a virtual seat, let's say. And we'll start in a moment, okay, as soon as more people join us. Okay, so we waited a few minutes. I see the number of participants increasing, but let's have a slow start, and so we're not too late, but still we allow some people to join us in the next few minutes. So welcome again to this 1 hour afternoon webinar. This is organized by the digiNEB project. digiNEB is a coordination and support action funded by the European Commission. It's a 2-year project. We are basically halfway because we recently finished our first year of activities. Today's webinar is our 5th online event, and we are focusing it on the digital solutions for sustainable buildings for the new European Bauhaus, and specifically we'll look at solutions that can enhance energy efficiency. My name is Maria Giuffrida. I am from Trust IT. Trust IT is the technical coordinator of the project. The other partners of the project include the Technical University of Delft, which is also the financial and administrative coordinator. Then we have Industry Commons Foundation, taking care of stakeholder engagement activities and the network of our early adopters for digital solutions. Then we have the European Association for Architectural Education, taking care of our success stories, and you will hear some today, and also training materials. And then we have Innova Wood joining, complementing the consortium with their expertise on the wood sector. Apart from the partners, today's event will be greatly assisted by a set of guests that we have invited. So for the next roughly 10 minutes, I will give you a general overview of the event and of the project organizing this event, and then we'll have our speakers. So we will hear from Rosamaria Olivadese, representing R2M Solution, consultancy company focused on providing recommendations related to technology, but not only in several fields, and they're involved in many European funded projects. Rosamaria will give us an overview of the importance of energy efficiency and the solutions that can help us build, more efficient buildings, especially following the new European Bauhaus values. Then we have 3 projects sharing their success stories in the field of energy management and energy efficiency. We will have Coe-Björsell from the BuildUP project, Mohammadreza Aghaei from COLLECTiEF, and Nuno Dionisio from SATO. We have also a specific moment dedicated to the Q&A session. You can use either the Q&A function or the chat, but don't feel obliged to keep your questions till the end. Actually, we like it very much if you can also anticipate your questions whenever you have them. And even if you don't have a question, you can also, put a comment or introduce yourself or say whatever you like that's pertinent, of course, to the discussion using the chat. Of course, this is an online event, so it's not easy to network, but we'll try, to have it a little bit interactive so that you still have the opportunity to make yourself heard and connect with other participants. So who are the participants? Indeed, we have over 80 registrants, and now we have already 30 people connected. Some others will, of course, follow this event on demand later on, because we will put the recordings and the slides available on our website starting from tomorrow. But as you can see from this slide, we have a variety of stakeholders which basically represent the main targets of the digiNEB project. On one side, we have the research world, so researchers, but on the other side, we have architects, engineers, designers, so people that potentially can use the outcomes of research projects, as well as they can use the solutions, the digital solutions provided by digital tech specialists. We also have a portion of the audience that has specific knowledge and expertise on energy efficiency, of course, given the topic we're dealing with today. And all these representative of the companies we just showed come from more than 25 countries in Europe. So we're very happy that we have representation over different countries. Before starting the event with the presentation of our speakers, let me just give a very quick overview of digiNEB for those who don't know us already or who have not attended our previous webinars. So digiNEB, as the name suggests, is a project that aims at bringing together the digital ecosystem, so all the providers of technologies, more advanced or more simple ones, and innovation, bringing this digital world to the new European Bauhaus ecosystem. The new European Bauhaus is a movement led by and really wanted by the European Commission, is possibly one of the missions of our commission, that is to basically encourage the creation of living spaces that follow three main values. The value of beauty, the value of accessibility, and the value of sustainability. So our overall goal is try to help the NEB community reach these goals by focusing on the support and the role that digital innovation and digital tools can bring to this purpose. In order to enable, let's say, this matchmaking somehow, we have built our website, digiNEB.eu, that you can go and visit, where you will find the preliminary assets of the project already filled in with relevant information. The assets are a digital toolkit with digital solutions and software and programs that can be used daily by citizens, by architects, engineers, by decision makers in public environment, and so on. You will find a preliminary version of our e-learning catalog, an observatory with success stories, and some discussion areas. Okay, so these are the four main assets that are ideally used by a wide network of stakeholders that we are bringing together in our community. So these slides basically pretty quickly summarizes the main assets and the main activities around which we are building our project, and around which we can create synergies and help the community actually interact. We have the digital toolkit that I already mentioned, and to date we already have more than 250 available solutions for you that you can go and look for, and you can also actually further contribute to the catalog if you are a provider of a solution and you would like to suggest it and to showcase it in our website. Then we have a section on success stories. We will see from the projects present today their own success stories, and you will find some of the solutions and some of the experience of the speakers that are animating the event after me, already published in these two sections of the website. So either you will find their solutions or you will find their experience in our success story section. We also have, as I said, a preliminary version of the training platform with roughly 11 courses, which we need, of course, to increase in the second half of the project. And we have a first set of early adopters that really boost our, dissemination activities and share their experience with using digital tools in NEB. So this is everything basically you can find and you can explore in our website. In our website, you will also very easily find the recordings of our previous 4 webinars. You want to catch up and discover more of the other thematic topics that we have already addressed. And last but not least, if you wanna, discover more about us and you wanna actually have a chance to meet us in person or online, don't miss the chance to enroll for our first annual event, Digitalizing the New European Bauhaus, which will be hosted at the next Smart City Expo World Congress. This event is happening in Barcelona on the 8th of November. We'd really appreciate if you are there and joining us physically, but if not, bear in mind this specific side event of digiNEB will be also accessible online, as I was saying. So I think that's all for my overview. Just a few very quick reminders of instructions for the webinar. The webinar is recorded. You've heard the message when you entered. And a last reminder, as I said before, to please use the chat whenever you want. Also use it to present yourself and to say why you're here so that we can help create a little bit of engagement with the audience. Having said this, you find here our contacts and the names of our partners. Without further ado, I will leave the floor to Rosamaria for the first presentation. So the floor is yours, Rosamaria.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria, for this introduction. I will share my screen now. I hope you can all see the presentation mode. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Rita, in the background for having invited me today to present and also have a challenge to do a bit of an umbrella presentation about why energy efficiency is important and why the European Bauhaus also talks about sustainability connected to people, inclusion, and accessibility. And energy efficiency and smart buildings, it all reminds us about digital solution and technologies, which might be a bit distant from the concept of the new European Bauhaus. But we will try here today to see and understand how we can actually combine them, and they are not unconnected, they are actually very, very connected and dependent with each other, all to achieve a certain goal of a sustainable energy transition and a better and healthier society. I'm Rosamaria Olivadese. I am a thematic area leader, digital and sustainable transition in buildings in R2M Solution. R2M is a company. Main headquarters is based in Italy, but we have headquarters offices in Spain, in France, and in the UK. We have reached more than 100 people now, and we have managed more than 100 projects by now. Our focus, we are an engineering and consultancy company, and our name is research to market. So what we aim for is to, through innovation, we help companies in the construction sector to innovate. We make innovation ourselves too. We participate in research projects, and we help companies that have innovative ideas and solutions to go to the market. So with the hope of really make the construction sector innovative, digital, sustainable, and competitive. Then we have a third part more related to sustainability consultancy, where we help companies in the real estate sector to get certified. So we work with we provide a different type of certifications. So through research, from research to the market, but also from the market, understanding the market needs, to the research, see how we can make innovation happen and really bring it to the ground in action. So as Maria presented today, we have 4 key projects, 4 keywords today. We have energy efficiency, we have digital solutions, sustainable buildings, and the new European Bauhaus concept. What's my goal today is to walk you through a series of results and products coming from European projects, but also technologies that we use in our consultancy and in our daily work, to really try to tackle each of these keywords. In our experience, in 12 years of experience in this sector, we have identified 7 main challenges. Probably you can identify even more, but I have tried to summarize in 7 main, which are already a lot, 7 main challenges only for the construction sector. The first one is about the digitalization. Digitalization, personally, I think is one of the biggest issues in construction. Bigger companies are a bit more advanced, some small companies that are very innovative and they are a bit more advanced, but mainly, yeah, digitalization in the construction sector is quite an issue. This has to do with information management, gathering data, accessibility of the data. So you probably all have heard about digital building logbook. You probably have heard about BIM, building information modeling, as a way to support the design and construction management and the whole process. You for sure have heard about the building management systems, which are again different, and so on. The second challenge is related to dynamic simulation of building. This has to do with life cycle assessment analysis, energy simulation, renovation scenarios, decarbonization scenarios, and so on. So everything that can help us in making the right decisions towards sustainability when we have to deal, for example, with a new construction, or more importantly, when we deal with renovation projects. The third challenge is related to all the aspects that have to do with circularity and the application of nature-based solution in this sector. So here I just mentioned a few, the building material passport and the building circularity passport. But of course, if we are architects and designers, we can think of how nature-based solution can have a positive impact in an indoor space. For example, both in terms of indoor comfort, both as well as for beauty and the perception of the user of a certain space. The fourth challenge is related again to quite a technical part, which is building monitoring and connected with the indoor comfort. So here we go from the application of indoor air quality sensors or indoor environmental sensors to AI applied to buildings to optimize indoor comfort and energy efficiency and energy consumption. So I will show you here some examples. The fifth challenge is related to standardization and certifications. Probably thanks to the overview that Maria did about the different profiles, this is actually very useful because there are a lot of architects here, so you will probably have heard about, well, of course, we have the energy performance certificates. If the people who work with BIM knows that IFC is the standard, the most common standard used, the format used. We have the EU taxonomy, we have levels that are at EU level, we have smart readiness indicators, building renovation passport. So we have a lot of initiatives that are trying to have a standard process of ways of assessing and certifying and collecting information about the building. Sixth challenge is about, of course, building is a physical element, so it's about technologies and components. And the last challenge, but equally important to all the others, is about cooperation and the stakeholders ecosystem. And here this will be part of my closing remarks. All these challenges are applied both in new construction as in new buildings, and both in the public sector as well as the private sector. And actually what we are seeing now is that the private sector is more and more careful and paying more and more attention to all these aspects about these ESG parameters, so energy, society, and governance. So I'm going to quickly go through these 7 challenges, showing you some of the tools and technologies that are coming out of projects, but also commercial products that we currently use. And most of these products will be uploaded also in the digiNEB portal, so you will be able to find it later on if you're interested in them. So, for example, in the first challenge, digitalization in construction, I just want to mention a few things, walking you through the different images. So the first row shows you, starting from the right, this is a Matterport camera, which is used for 3D scanning. Simple to use, but the information that can give are very different. So the first information on the top left image is it's a picture, but it's actually a 3D virtual model. So if you open this in a system, you could actually walk through the different spaces, and so it provides a certain type of information. It can support cooperation or communication with different stakeholders. Exact same image, the central one, it's coming from a BIM model. So this shows you different type of information and different stakeholders at the table, through everything done with the support of scan to BIM processing and the endpoint clouds. This aspect of digitalization, cooperation between stakeholders and data collection and information management is also done through platform. These platforms, for example, Zootech or BIM Collab, actually BIM Collab is a product coming from European projects. Helps really to collect information, manage, for example, BIM models in a design and construction and operational phases of a building, and facilitates communication between different stakeholders. Going further on through, like the telephone in the image shows clash detection and inspection through augmented reality. So you are able through the phone. These are solutions that we are developing in the 3 projects you see below, Chronicle, In-Person, LegoFit, where you actually can use augmented reality to detect defects or errors during construction and operational phases of the buildings. In the second challenge about simulation of the buildings, here are some examples of decarbonization scenarios, for example, and that can support the design of a building, or if we are working with smart cities or positive energy district of an area in itself. And this simulation also help in preparing yourself to get the right certifications. These are some examples. You can run different type of analysis, as you can see in the image on the bottom left. You can write decarbonization analysis scenarios and so on. For example, here we use internally in R2M, we use IES, which is now a commercial company, brand, but this one is also, for example, coming from European projects. So these are all very nice results. The third challenge is what we mentioned was related to integration of natural-based solution and circularity. Here, key is the application. For example, here I want to show you just an example about a solution called Green Pass. That actually is allows you to supports architects and designers into understanding the thermal comfort and the impact of a certain of a design of a building, for example, in a certain space. Here we can see like the thermal comfort analysis, so which areas are hotter and which areas are a bit cold, cooler in a space, and how and in Green Pass, for example, you are also able to design the open spaces to really help the integration of nature-based solution into the design of a building. And you can also get a certification for that. This, of course, the impact is related to the air quality, energy efficiency, reduction of heat in built environments, and of course also increasing outdoor comfort in urban areas. The fourth challenge is about buildings monitoring. Here I just want to bring you an example that goes far more advanced than let's call it simple, but it's not simple, but pass the term please, about the indoor monitoring. This is a Canadian company we are working with, and I just provoke you saying no human intervention at all. So totally against the new European Bauhaus concept, in the sense of this is of course just to challenge you. This is a system that it's able, for example, to learn, collects data from the building through sensors, through information building management system, and learns from the data, is able to understand what to do, makes prediction, and adjust the comfort and the status of the energy consumption of the building, so turning on and off the heater or the airco, increasing temperature and so on of the building itself, in theory without human intervention at all. So here it's really going up to another level of intelligent and smart buildings, how this can maximize energy efficiency and indoor comfort. The fifth challenge that I mentioned was about standardization and certification. Well, here is a new huge word. We can talk about LEED certification, BREEAM certification, which are more related to sustainability aspects. We have WELL certifications, which is about more related to closer to the concept of the new European Bauhaus, and it's more about also indoor comfort. But we are also talking about a smart readiness indicator. Here is how a building is ready. Let's think of an existing building, how much an existing building is ready to be smart, and which measures we can take in order to improve the smartness of this building. And even going a step forward in these concepts, you all know we need an EPC to sell a house or a building in general, or an apartment. And now we are already discussing about, we are trying to make it a standardized European EPC, but we are already a step forward discussing about dynamic EPCs. And these dynamic EPCs really have the role of the end user is key. So it's an EPC that is generated periodically, monthly or every 2 months, and so on. And that the energy efficiency, the energy performance certificates varies based on how the user acts and behaves in a building. So this is also very interesting, and it really gives us insight on how important is the end user of a building towards the energy efficiency. Most of the time we can have a very smart and energy efficient building, nearly zero, if not positive building, but at the end, if the user doesn't behave correctly, actually half of the work done, it's closed.
Sorry, just to
Sure.
flag if you can.
I'm closing. Last 2 slides. Yes.
Thanks.
Sixth challenge is about innovative building technologies. As I mentioned, here just 2 examples. One is here it's an application of smart windows, so it's connected to aesthetics aspect, but these are actually photovoltaics panel integrated. And the second element is about the integration of a natural-based solution into a construction component. So this is a prefabricated wood component, and inside, as isolation materials, we have hay. So we have reused material from agriculture in the construction sector. Last but not least, and this is my closing slide, we have stakeholder ecosystem and cooperation. As I mentioned, most of the time we have the solutions, so we know what to do. We have all the digital tools that I mentioned before that can support us. However, sitting at the table with different type of stakeholders at maybe different times, it's really a challenge. So cooperation between different stakeholders is key to innovation. Educate people from the sector as well as the end user on how to correctly behave and use a certain space towards energy efficiency and sustainability. This is also one of the key challenges we have ahead of us. So this is all connected with each other. This was my closing slide. Sorry for running late, Maria, and thank you. I don't have access to the chat right in front of me, so I don't know if there are questions or we will do it later.
Thank you, Rosamaria. Yes, there are some comments, but I don't see precise questions at the moment in the chat. I do have a question, but I will write it in the chat so that we, in the meantime, we progress also with the presentation, because you presented a lot of tools that are very interesting. They are also, some of them already in our catalog, as you were mentioning. So I encourage people to go and see them. I will write my question in the chat at the moment, and then in the meantime, I will leave the floor to Emily.
Yes. Hello.
Welcome, Emily. Hello.
Yeah. All right.
For the presentation of BuildUP. Thank you.
Okay, I assume you can see my screen. Yes. Okay, good. All right.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll begin. Okay, thank you so much for the invitation to present BuildUP today in today's webinar. My name is Emily Coe-Björsell, and I'm a member of the editorial team of BuildUP. So today I will do my best to present in a fairly short way what BuildUP is, what the scope of BuildUP is, what activities we perform, what the anticipated impact is, and of course, how it is an example of a digital solution, and lastly, how it is linked to the NEB values. One moment, here we go. Okay, so what is BuildUP? So BuildUP is essentially it's the EU's largest platform and principal EU reference point for energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. In practical terms, what that means is that BuildUP is a content aggregator and producer, as well as a community that brings together stakeholders in the field to exchange all the latest information, research, tools, project results, good practices, and more on the topic and via the online BuildUP portal. The BuildUP initiative actually was established in 2009 by the European Commission to help member states in implementing the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, and it is now currently managed by CNEA. So the main objective of BuildUP really is to facilitate and promote the exchange of knowledge and information always about energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings in the building and construction sector. And in this way, the idea is that it will increase or help to increase the performance of buildings as well as their occupants, reduce the impact on the environment, and then lastly, to help Europe reach its climate goals. So looking at the scope of BuildUP. So the scope is really to be the main point of reference in Europe about energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. And doing this by offering a wide and diverse range of content that targets also a wide and diverse range of stakeholders, but including public authorities, building professionals, and building professional associations, industry stakeholders, policymakers, researchers, students, projects, and many more. And this is specifically for a couple of points, but firstly, to reap the benefits of the collective intelligence of Europe in relation to energy reduction and the integration of renewables in buildings, and to disseminate relevant information. And then secondly, to encourage the exchange of knowledge and information and good practice and more through different types of content. We always say content, but it can be, for example, case studies, tools, articles, etc. And then to also bring together stakeholders working in the building sector and target the general public to help improve energy efficiency behaviors. And then lastly, of course, to support or continue to support the implementation of the EPPD, the EED, and the European Green Deal. Looking more sort of specifically at how it works, the overall approach of BuildUP is what we refer to as an inside-outside approach. And this is where the activities and the content that we generate, source, and collect occur both within the immediate ecosystem of BuildUP, as well as outside of it in the wider ecosystem of BuildUP. So in terms of inside, what this essentially means is that we develop content for the BuildUP portal, the online portal, within our team and with our partners, as well as collaborate directly with relevant stakeholders. So this can be projects, organizations, and more, always in the building and construction sector. And then this information or content, as we call it, is disseminated to the community via the portal. And then examples of this can be overview articles, technical articles, written or filmed videos, interviews, other videos, webinars, and more. And then from the outside perspective in turn, there is stakeholders and members of the BuildUP community. They are encouraged and able to submit their own content that can then also be disseminated to the BuildUP community and beyond via the BuildUP portal as well. And this can take the form of, for example, news, events, publications, case studies, good practice, also articles and other items. And essentially what this does is that it makes available a much wider pool of information than what could potentially be created within the team of BuildUP. And in doing so, it sort of makes this information, we're able to make this information and knowledge accessible to the BuildUP audience, and then also capitalize on this collective intelligence of Europe and beyond that I mentioned just before. So why is BuildUP an example of a knowledge sharing platform? And there's a few simple reasons for this. And the first is, of course, that it's the main means of communication about energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings of the European Commission. It also shares knowledge from other European sources with the BuildUP community. I mentioned before the sourcing of content, so we don't just produce ourselves, but of course we source from outside. And then lastly, this aspect of enabling sharing content from stakeholders in the BuildUP community as well. So how does it work as a knowledge sharing tool? Well, there's a few ways that we do this. So I'll cover 6 of them here. The first one is that we publish content on a daily basis. So every single day during the week, of course, every day BuildUP publishes new content, external and non-production, of course, targeted at these wide range of stakeholders and the BuildUP audience that I mentioned earlier. We have webinars each month. On average, we have about 3, I would say. And we organize them together with EU-funded projects, relevant organizations and stakeholders in the BuildUP network. And the idea is to help them disseminate their results and initiatives and more. We have a topic of the month scheme that we follow, which, as it sounds, each month we pick a specific but related topic. And the idea is that we will present content around the topics of the month, or TOMs as we call them, to really dig into different subjects and to explore the knowledge and the information on those together with the community. We have a user-friendly portal, which we also recently revamped and launched. So it has a new, fresh, updated, user-friendly look. And this supports the aspects of sort of gaining and sharing knowledge, which is core to BuildUP. We have a board of ambassadors that we're really pleased and proud of. And it's a pool of experts that they have different expertise within their own specific fields. And they help us bring additional knowledge to BuildUP, and they act as a linkage to the member state level. So at the moment we have just under 40 of them, and they often collaborate with us on different content items, so webinars, events, interviews, and more. And then also we participate in events. So what this means is that we often attend very relevant events to BuildUP and to the sector. So this could be, for example, Sustainable Places, which R2M knows all about. So we're pleased to collaborate with them. Or USEF or Covenant of Mayors, for example. We'll be at Covenant of Mayors in a couple of weeks. And the idea is to always make these linkages with the sector and to let people know about BuildUP and what it can do for them. So to try and sum up here quickly, basically how we see BuildUP working and how we sort of create impact, or how we view the impact creation. So as I've explained, we source, produce, and disseminate relevant content. And this goes from BuildUP, it goes to the BuildUP audience and the BuildUP community. So they access and contribute to the pool of content and information in BuildUP, and then they in turn feed back into BuildUP. Then from the BuildUP audience, of course, it trickles, in this case, it trickles down or gets further disseminated because the audience is part of the wider building and construction sector. So knowledge is then exchanged between the audience and the wider sector. And then, of course, it can go back up to BuildUP again to come down again. So it sort of creates this flow around. This, of course, spreads wider as actors in other sectors that impact the building and construction sector. They also learn from the BuildUP audience and vice versa, and exchange information and knowledge, and again, back up. And lastly, of course, into wider society, into wider sectors, having an even greater impact. And the idea is that all of this together and the accumulated knowledge through the chain and the different channels back and forth lead to meaningful impact on the emissions from the building and construction sector. And this in turn leads to impact for European climate and environmental goals. And the idea is, of course, that we continue to reach out more and more to wider, to other stakeholders and to the wider community, always to increase the impact of BuildUP and beyond. So to wrap up very quickly, linking BuildUP to contributing to or linked to NEB values. I would say that the first and largest value that BuildUP would be linked to is, of course, sustainability. I hope that it is clear why. Sustainability is, of course, core to BuildUP. Everything we do is related to energy efficiency, renewable energy in buildings, to help improve the use of energy in buildings and to decarbonize the building stock. Then secondly, still very important as well, is the idea of inclusion, which of course is linked to this leveraging on the collective intelligence of Europe and encouraging contributions and sharing of knowledge and information within the community and beyond. And then lastly, and a bit smaller because it's not a core aspect of BuildUP, although it is still very important, is the idea of aesthetics. And of course, at BuildUP, we recognize that the importance and significance of visual aspects of buildings, and understand that they are very important to consider along with, together with addressing issues related to decarbonization of the building stock and the needing to improve energy efficiency behaviors. So with that, I will wrap up and say thank you. We encourage you to visit us. Our website is here. So with BuildUP, we're now under the Europa domain. We also have LinkedIn and X, as well as YouTube. And in particular on LinkedIn and X, we always share information about events we're attending, upcoming webinars, new content published, and more. And then, of course, we encourage you to go visit the actual BuildUP portal. And yes, so I'll end there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emily. If you want, you can also copy the links you have in the slide in the chat so people can directly click. Thank you for your presentation. We find the BuildUP platform extremely useful. We use it ourselves for sourcing information from digiNEB and for amplifying our communication when we have events in this field. So this tool is also available in the digital toolkit in our website, and anyone who's attending here is invited to register, of course, to BuildUP as well. Now I will pass to the next speaker. So welcome to Reza from COLLECTiEF for the presentation of his project.
Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot for having me today. And it's my pleasure to join this webinar. Can you see my screen? Shall I start?
Yes, we can. We can see the cover at the moment.
Okay, yeah. So today I will discuss about the collective intelligence for energy flexibility, which is our project's the collective, and is EU Horizon 2020 funded by EU Commission. So I'm Mohammadreza Aghaei, project coordinator from NTNU. So in our project, we have 15 partners from the 6 European countries running for 4 years. And we have 4 urban pilots in different countries. So the collective involving several universities, research institutions, and SME and industrials from 6 countries. So I just try to move forward. So here is our team, several expertise from different countries running these projects. We are in the 3rd year of the projects, and we developed several solutions so far, and we are in the actual phase of testing. So the collective projects relies on the collective intelligence, CI. That is a distributed intelligence paradigm, which brings the main computation and the sensor solution at the building level. We call it edge, and enable integration of the legacy equipment and appliances into a collaborative network. So collective has several objectives. So we are creating the CI base, collective intelligence based energy flexible network that ensure low cost installation and maximum data security. We are using also the cost-effective component available in the market to make our system compatible across Europe. We are testing our system in 14 buildings as our pilots across Europe in 4 countries to provide its efficiency and adaptability to different climate zones. We will also achieve more accurate and non-invasive environmental monitoring through the sensors, focusing on the user needs. We design also a smart and user-centric and user-friendly platform to improve the building management and maximize the energy saving. We also develop new business model for the energy flexibility trading. So, but the question is that how COLLECTiEF works. So COLLECTiEF actually has a cluster node and edge node. So the cluster nodes communicates the energy flexibility needed to the edge nodes. The cluster nodes can learn from the edge nodes the pattern of their responses to the requested signal for the flexibility. And also this node will also learn the pattern of the request that is communicated by the energy supplier, which is influenced by the weather conditions or price or supply demand and etc. And based on all these parameters, it creates a predictive model to communicate the signal timely and to the right end users in order to ensure the flexibility that is requested by energy supplier under different conditions. And the edge node, actually including the appliances and households, edge node can communicate the flexibility needed to the components and appliances and can control them. The end user decides based on the individual preference and needs to when and which components and what level apply the flexibility measures. For instance, they can actually, automatically reduce and maybe increase the set point temperature or decrease the fan speed, for instance. In this project, we use machine learning techniques and reinforcement learning techniques, and the system interface will learn from the user preference, based on the data we have in the baseline, and of course, actually during the learning process. And suggest the optimized schedules to the user for the coming hours or days or weeks. In the edge node, we use several digital solutions available in the consortium or developed during the project. And these solutions, some of these solutions actually available in the market because we wanted to use the available solution in the market and cost-effective solutions in order for the easy integration with our solutions. And also COLLECTiEF defined a business model and target two main groups. So the first group can be actually the energy community, energy market, and energy suppliers who would like to have a flexibility or buy the flexibility. And the second group is the end user and consumers. At the edge node, they're able to control their appliances and devices, and they can actually provide the flexibility, and it can be based on the incentive program and so on. So we test our solutions in 14 buildings across Europe, in Norway, in France, and in Italy and Cyprus. So in Norway, in Ålesund, the city located in the west of Norway, actually we have 7 buildings, including the educational buildings and the schools, and the healthcare and sports centers, and also medical centers. And also in France, in Grenoble, we have access to the one living lab called the G2E lab. So we test as a small scale. We tested our solutions in that living lab. And there are 3 buildings in Milan, Italy, and we have these 3 buildings, including several apartments. So there are actually residential buildings. And in Cyprus, we have access to the office and educational and laboratory buildings in the University of Cyprus for testing our solutions. So we promised to EU to upgrade the smartness level of the existing buildings at least 1 level, and we consider actually the SRI methodology defined by EU. And also we promise to reduce 16% of the primary energy use and up to €3 per square meter annual energy cost saving. Increase the user satisfaction up to 15% and increase the demand flexibility up to 24%. So the COLLECTiEF solutions can contribute to the new European Bauhaus, mostly in sustainability and inclusion, with a focus on upgrading existing buildings to higher smartness level and reducing the energy consumption and the costs of the primary energy saving, and promoting the sustainable energy and improve the user satisfaction, comfort, and convenience, and increasing the climate flexibility and resilience in urban area, which is very important topic. So as I said, we are in the third year of the project. We've successfully passed the first 2 years of the project. We developed several algorithms and hardware packages for our project, and we install our monitoring systems in the pilot site, and at the moment we are collecting the data, and at the same time we are developing also preparing actually the pilots for the larger scale demonstration. So we are in months 29 and around one year half left from the projects, and we are in the deployment side. So here are some photograph from the installing the monitoring system in different pilots. And you see here the sensors, which is user-centric sensors for the collecting some parameters like temperature or CO2 or radiance, and also particles in the pilot side. And here are our survey. We developed like a QR code in order to collect the we call it the post-occupancy evaluation. We want to collect the information from end user about for instance, the temperature comfort, and in order to define the temperature set points for our algorithms. And here is one scheme of our small scale demonstration. Recently, we just successfully passed this step, and still is ongoing. And so there is overlapping between our small scale demonstration and larger scale demonstration. At the moment, we are planning to deploy our solution in the real buildings in our pilots. So we met 2 times our partners. First, in the first year, we had a DA meeting in Norway, in Ålesund, and second year, which was in June, last June, we met in Grenoble in France. So thanks a lot. And if there is any question, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reza, for your presentation. As Rita put in the chat, your case is also visible in digiNEB. We do have a question in the chat. I would ask you, Reza, if you can, have a look at the chat and type your question so it stays also for our records. While in the meantime, I pass the floor to the last speaker. So Nuno, the floor is yours now for presenting the SATO project.
All right. Hello, everyone. Let me know if it's showing. Everything's good.
It is showing, not yet in presentation. Now it's coming.
Wait. Okay, good.
In presentation, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could. Thank you very much. So thank you for the opportunity to present here. My name is Nuno Dionisio. I'm a PhD student at the Faculty of Lisbon and a PhD fellow working on the SATO project, and here invited to give an overview of also our project. So SATO, just to give a few quick statistics for introduction, the consortium is made of 16 partners. across 7 European countries. We are currently just entered the last year of the project. We count with 8 pilots across 3 distinct European climates. And the challenge that we are trying to address is the lack of ability in most building stock in the EU, and consequently in most EU homeowners and building managers that are not able to assess the energy performance of their buildings, the indoor comfort, and the energy being consumed by all the appliances. The way we're seeking to tackle this, and our objective, is to create an automated self-assessment and optimization platform capable of monitoring this energy usage. And here we're trying to go all the components that enter in the equation when we're talking about the energy usage of a building. Everything from the energy battery, if a building has one, electric vehicle chargers, all the way to HVAC systems, rooftop units, air handling units, and even appliances. So fridges, washing machines, and so on, as well as environmental sensors, temperature sensors, CO2, humidity sensors, and so on. Everything that will then allow us to make an assessment of the real life building energy usage and the comfort. Now, immediately, this already provides a challenge due to the diversity of all of this data, and that is just for one building. And scaling to across 8 pilots, it proves to be a very arduous task. The way that we sought to address it was through semantic-based annotation of all of these values, of all the data that comes and is ingested by the platform. So take, for instance, a plug that might be measuring how much energy consumption in kilowatt hour or in watt hour from a fridge. The way we do it is that we have this digital twin of the building. So it will have the building, its zones, its spaces, including the fridge. The fridge might have some properties like who's the manufacturer, what's the energy label in comparing to the April's database, and it's connected to this plug, and we have this relationship. The plug is monitoring this fridge, and it's currently measuring some values. And we then have some extra information, as in the fridge is located in the kitchen, which might have other sensors, temperature sensors, CO2. In the fridge, this room in turn might be an apartment located in a residential building in Milan, Italy, for instance, for a specific use case in our project. All of these then creates a giant graph, a knowledge graph of almost a digital twin, a digital representation of the current status of the building. And because we are automating it, we are annotating everything with semantic information, it then allows us for one of the core capabilities in SATO, which is the self-assessment, the discovery of what assessments, what services can we provide and produce based on what's available to us. And that was a more general overview of what we have in SATO. Now, in a more technical point of view, how exactly is the building integrated in SATO? We begin, at least for the office buildings, the easiest way is to use a BIM model that was already mentioned in one of the first presentations, a building information model. Normally, these are denoted by IFC files, and in SATO, we have the capability of parsing these to create a first iteration of the knowledge graph, just going through what are the spaces, the building, the zones, mapping everything out, and then likely, because it's still not very common that now engineers are adding the sensors into the IFC file, although there's already the possibility, we tend to add those now manually, but eventually, with a rich IFC file, we could have everything automatically. In the case of residential buildings, which is a bit less common to have BIM files, everything's currently being done by hand. At the end, what we have is that digital twin again, that knowledge graph that will represent the status of the building. And then we can, with the data coming in from all of these sources, we start populating the graph, storing the historical values for the assessments and so on. And since we have all of those annotations, of what exists in a given room, what exists in a given zone or in the whole building, we're able to launch several assessments, key performance indicators, forecasts, and a lot of other computational tasks, including even smart readiness indicator assessments, so the SRI calculations. We're able to launch all of those automatically as data is coming in. And more so, imagine if you add now a new capability to the building, for instance, a window motor. This process also kicks in automatically to find, okay, now with this window motor, what else can I learn how to do? Now, if I have an idea if the window is open or closed, and I have a air quality sensor, maybe there's a new calculation that I can make. This at the second layer of the platform that they can pass to the third one, which focus on control. And here we can go for very already more common and classical optimization approaches, or the bleeding edge AI with deep learning, reinforcement learning, and so on. That's for all the buildings that are capable of control. And when they are not, we can also send notices to the various interfaces that we have as a sort of advisory for a user. So here, we still keep the capabilities of having AI algorithms, but we keep the human in the loop of what's happening. A lot of times, either asking them to actuate even on devices that cannot be actuated, legacy devices, or just as a way of feedback. In terms of user interfaces, we have the most common ones, which are web and mobile. Now everything nowadays has these two applications for various monitoring and data analysis reports. But we also have a BIM-based especially for the office buildings that have these models. In our case, we're working with SAIP, one of the partners of the project, and they use OpenBIM. Unfortunately, I don't have a slide, but refer back to one of the previous slides where you have a 3D model of a building. And we have the capability of, in these 3D models, of projecting some in color-coded some assessment that might be going on. So you might see a 3D room filled with some gradients that corresponds to some measurement, some key performance indicator, to some assessment that is being calculated by the platform. Referring back to the assessments, we have 5 main categories. We either can look at the whole building, as in whole building energy usage, the building envelope. We might be calculating profiles of what's the thermal capacity, the thermal capacity storage of a given room, of a given building, the occupant detection, indoor comfort, and its various metrics. Building systems, namely, we're working in the fault detection extensively, and then with the appliances. Since we are monitoring how much is an appliance consuming, we can even give a comparison of how much is it consuming, comparing what's its energy efficiency label. In terms of the controls at the final layer, the self-assessment, perhaps the main one, not only corresponds to the ability of showing the user the results of all these calculations that we're making, but also that automated discovery. Especially once a building is already registered, and then if new added capabilities are added to the building, automatically making all of these updates. Then control strategies for user comfort, aggregate control, and for the building systems. And finally, the flexibility, which is something that we're now pursuing, likely even in the future with a platform and with follow-up projects. Looking at the values of SATO, we found that they are in good alignment with the new European Bauhaus values. Now, as all the previous ones, the biggest one is sustainability, as the platform attempts to integrate all the building equipments to provide energy usage assessments, all of these data analytics reports, not only in energy performance, but on how the equipment, the appliances are in respective to some of the energy label that was assigned to it, or even the occupant comfort, and including the user feedback. To some extent, the aesthetics. Now, the mobile and web will be a given natural case with the visualizations of the assessments, but even more so for purely aesthetics would be the BIM model, which likely is only going to be used by perhaps a building owner or a building manager, but provides this 3D rich representation of not only the space, but then whatever calculations that we're making. And in the future, this might even have some, might provide us some capabilities of things like the metaverse and other things, and augmented reality, which might even enrich these representations that we're able to do a bit further. And in this case, I didn't add here inclusion, but comparing to what was said in the previous presentations would be all the inclusion of all these different data sources, which is the biggest challenge in our perspective. Looking up to the future, there's besides the discussion for spin-off projects, commercial projects, and the security and privacy, which is always a continuous matter that we are striving towards, we see the development going in 3 main directions. The first 2 are more in simulation, either during a building's design phase. So while the building is being constructed, more and more building information models, BIMs, are being more usual, so to speak. So we can already use this and create this already digital twin, and even together with simulation software, we can likely produce some simulations of what the assessments, all the KPIs that the building's going to have. And once the building is ready, we can use the data and compare and calibrate this further. Energy refurbishment will follow a similar path. And finally, what we're looking is very similar to the previous presentation, looking into great flexibility. Now, once we have all these data being produced for a given building, and we're able to compute some flexibility on the building side, it opens challenges of how we can negotiate with the grid, with the DSO saying how much, please use the most energy at X time and accommodate the building to that, or vice versa. And from my side, that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nuno. Let's see if there is a question in the chat. There was one for the previous speaker that I think Reza has addressed, and also Rosamaria. So if you have other questions, people in the audience, exploit these last minutes to ask. I want to thank everyone. Especially, I want to remind our audience that the cases that have been presented by the last projects are described in more detail in our website as success stories for the use of digital innovation in NEB-related context. And if you have a similar case or a case in this topic that you would like to promote, you can just go on the website digiNEB and submit your example and your story, and you can go through all the material and exploit our platform to give visibility to your activities as well. Just to conclude, I heard especially the latest presentation from Reza, from Nuno, talking about their pilots, their use cases, their experiments that they're doing. And so this made me remind of the fact that as these projects end, it's very important to think about sustainability and the ways in which these solutions can continue. So I just want to share with everyone, so with our speakers, but also with anyone in the audience, just to connect the dots, that there is another project I'm involved in, which is launching open calls for the development of technological solutions, especially in IoT and edge computing, which are the technologies that Nuno and Reza were describing in energy sector. So if anyone is interested, I will put the link and you can have a look. Regarding all the rest, I think we heard many interesting presentations from all the speakers, starting from the overview by Rosamaria and the solutions, the many solutions R2M is developing, but also the BuildUP platform that is a huge value for knowledge sharing, and the last cases we heard. So I thank you very much again, everyone. It was very insightful. Please keep in touch, and maybe Rita, you can send the link to our newsletter if our audience wants to, be in the loop of our next events and activities. They can subscribe and learn about everything. I hope to meet some of you at the next event in Barcelona or online. And all the slides will be available on the website in the next days. So I put also the open calls link that I was mentioning right now from the other project. And see you soon again. Thank you.